Hey guys, welcome back again. Part 4, I believe now. Yeah, part 4 of the A-7V build. And you can see now that I've got all these cross members in, and I've put my Mr. Surfacer in there to try and I just want to cover up those holes really where those you can see those tabs come through, and a bit of Mr. Surfacer in there. I'm a big girl's blouse with stuff like this, so I just like to make sure it's right. So we've nearly completed this stage now. So I've got to add the sprockets, the idlers and the exhausts. The exhausts are made up, they've also been Mr. Surfaced, and I gave them a quick blast of black paint just so I could rub down and check the seams gone. Again, you know, really being fussy, but that's just me. So let's get these put on first, and these are going to go on. I'm assuming they're not symmetrical. You can see here they're not symmetrical because if I do that, then the pipe doesn't enter the silencer in the middle. It's offset. So we've got to make sure they go in the right way round, and it looks like on here that pipe is uppermost. So with it this way round, the pipe must be uppermost, so this is correct. So I'll put that in that way. So that's going to go in like that. That's a lovely fit. And then that one's going to go in like that. And that's a lovely fit. Great, so we'll get some of our Tamiya extra thin. Just put that on the inside. Another little drop in there. So that's them in place. These things are a nuisance. Don't know why they couldn't make them as separate parts, to be honest. I'm gearing up as well to give you the story about this this chassis. It's quite interesting. It's quite an interesting little story. I'm going to keep you in suspense. I'm not going to tell you yet. I just want to make sure they're square and everything, really. No doubt within 2 miles of use they've been beat to hell. I can't believe they put the silencers in the middle of the tracks. They wouldn't have, I suppose it didn't have to last long, did it? But you just think they'd have been beat to hell by the stones and everything, and then if a track came off it would rip them off, and if it didn't rip them off they'd rust away in no time. Anyway, right, so we've got to fit these sprockets and idlers now, so we've got these to go on. So, right, so these just press in there, because there's poly caps in there if you remember. So that just presses in there. And then this one should just press in here. Yep. And they go round on those poly caps, so I'm not worried about it going round. But it's handy to have things with a tank, it's handy to have things turning for painting. So that's that in there. Now these are handed, so I need to make sure I get the right hand. So that one is that way up. We've got the groove here. If you see there's a groove, and you, whoops, chuck it all over the floor. You can see in the instructions there's a groove in the top there. So I need to make sure I've got the groove. You see that's the right hand. Sorry, this is the right hand I'm after. So there we go, we've got the groove in the top there, and this is on the inside, so it's like that. So basically I've got this the wrong way round. So that's going to go in there. There's a hole in there this goes in, so that's going to go in there, like so. And then this arm here is going to go in that hole there. So I guess that can all be glued up. I don't know why it was all left floating. Okay, so I'll put some glue in there, just a dab on the back and some up on there. Want this to be nice and strong. And then I'm just looking along it like you're looking along it now, and making sure everything is square. think that's one of those you need to let it go off a bit first, and then perhaps pull it about a bit. But I'm what they call over gluing it to make sure it's got plenty in there. And then I'll just put this side on the same square hole in the square peg in the square hole. Okay, and then some glue on there and some glue in there. Push that pin in. That should stay there. And that one has gone straight away by the look of it. No, it needs a tweak. Yeah, I think it's probably going to be best to tweak these once the glue's dry to give the plastic a little twist. And there we go. So now you can see they're pretty much square. And then when you look along here, that's what I'm looking for. You can see along there that the wheels are pretty much square. And from the back, of course it's difficult to see because of the panning of the cowl. What's it called? Oh, please tell me. I can see it with my eyes, but you can't see it with the camera because the camera's is it field of vision? What you can see is the vanishing point is accentuated. Right, so that's those on, and then so that's that stage finished. So we go over the page, and now we're going to add our suspension unit. So we've got A at the sprocket end, B in the middle, and C. So we've got A at the sprocket end, B in the middle, and C at the idler end. So let's just go back and check which was which. Now A was 17, B was 16. So it's 17, 16, 15. Now if you remember, I wrote on these, and now I can't see the writing. Well, I know that 17 has got the arms on it there. So 17 is this one. So I don't know where those arms are going to end up. So that's just going to drop on there. So we've got two holes here, two pegs there, which are going into two pegs there, and we've got the holes for these here. So they're just going to drop down like so. It's a lovely fit. It really is a very nice fit. And all of that, those arms just fit directly into there, look. So I think what I'll do is I'll put some glue in here. I'm going to put plenty in there. And then I'll just drop this on. Whoops, like so. Just checking those springs have gone into those seats. Yep. And I'm going to put some glue in that one, and some glue in that one, and some glue on these. Excuse me, I burped then. That was my mouth burping, nothing else. Hold that down. In fact, I think what I might need to do is leave this to set with some weight on it. If you remember, I told you in the, I think it was in the first video, these actual suspension units on mine were all warped and bent. You can see that one's slightly bent, and I've had to sort of try and twist them into shape. I don't know, maybe this kit was left in a warehouse by a sunlit window or something, or in a by a radiator, but it seems like nearly every part is warped. But I mustn't grumble because I got this on eBay for like 30 quid or something. It was dirt cheap. Kind of wondering how I can, I've got nothing to reach over to clamp that. I have to find a, got my metal blocks here, I don't know if that will hold it down. Or this is one of my aluminium blocks. Yeah, that's just sitting on the transmission housing there. So what I need to do is get a piece of scrap plastic, piece of tubing to sit between those two bolts. No, I want it to sit on the centre, don't I? This must be great watching for you guys. I'll find a piece of scrap plastic just long enough to sit in there. There we go, so that can sit on there. There we go, and now that weight is sat on there, so I can put a weight on top of that. And that will hold it down. So I'm sorry guys, that is going to be that, because I want to make sure this stays down and while the glue sets. Because I don't want those wheels to be, you know, out like this. So yeah, I'm going to leave that, put that way around. No, I won't, I'll put it that way around. That increases the load. Yeah, so that is now planted firmly on there. That can't go anywhere. So there we go. So I'll go on once this is set, and I'll glue these two on here off of camera, and then I'll come back and join you with adding these parts on here. Just a quick note for you guys, when you fit this rear one, this suspension unit here, C, it could go on. I wonder what that is there. They've got another wheel drawn in there on its own by the look of it. That's a bit strange. Anyway, yeah, so when you actually fit this one here, you need to make sure that the holes here are facing inward. I don't know if it's forwards or backwards. I think it's backwards. Yeah, you need to make sure those holes are facing inwards, because we have these going on afterwards, and obviously they're going to link between them. So that will actually go on that way round. So you need to make sure you fit it that way round. Get it the right way round. Yeah, with the holes facing inward. Okay then guys, that's all together now and going off. I've got a couple of plastic strips under here now, as you can see. 1, 2. And the aluminium rod there, and then a steel weight on the top of it, and it's sat on top of steel blocks. And I've also put a couple of steel rules. I'll bring you down so you can see. There's a couple of steel rules in there now, in those slots, in those wheels, lining all that up. So everything should be lined up. So we'll call that a day there, because the next section is going to be tracks. I may leave the tracks for a while, I'll see. But yeah, you can see now that basically the chassis is all coming together. And the time has come, I'm going to tell you all about this chassis. If you notice here, this chassis is, where are we? This chassis, let's come back a bit, is like a flat floor, and you've got a hump in the middle where the engine goes in the middle. And when this tank was originally designed, they wanted this to be like a platform. See if I can find a picture of the finished floor pan before the body goes on. No, there isn't one really. It was designed to be a platform for putting anything on. So they made this sort of tracked, like rail car if you like, with an engine in the middle, and then they could put anything on it. Here's the floor pans, the front and rear going on. So yeah, basically they had like the engine in the middle with this box over the top. You had the driver sat on the top here, controlling everything, and then you could leave this open and put a gun on there or whatever, or you could have it as transporting weapons or anything, or as a tow vehicle. And it was designed as a kind of tractor towing implement, you know, everything. And it just shows how clever the Germans were even back there. This was their first ever tracked vehicle they built. And, you know, they developed, they were thinking way ahead in designing this you know, multi-purpose vehicle. And in fact, if you look on the end of my, when I do at the end of this video, I do the outro, if you like, with the little bit of music or whatever. And what's it got music on? I don't think it has. And you'll see on there's one of these with a great gun on it, and that's the kind of thing they did. But they also made it into a tank by putting a body on it. So so there you go. There's your bit of learning for today. So yeah, we'll call that a day now for part 4, and then I'll be back soon with part 5, and we'll get those little suspension links in, and then start on getting the floor pans in. I think I might do some paint work on this as well first, because it's going to be very difficult to get in there with paint once the floors are on top. All right, so I'll see you all soon. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, hit the notifications bell, tell your friends, send me money, do everything. Yeah. Cheers. Bye bye.